So, are you ready for your senior year?
Oh, not exactly. But I mean, I guess it's kind of unavoidable at this point. Unless I move to Antarctica and just make a living off of hanging penguins until the weight of a college degree wears off. But really, that's not going to happen unless you actually are able to socially network while still in college, so no.
Well, I don't know if your parents would approve of that, just because Antarctica is cold there, and Antarctica. But speaking of that, have you applied for any colleges though?
No, not really. I mean, it's kind of hard to apply for a college when you don't even know what you're going to do. I mean, I know what I like, but is that really what I want to spend years of being in college with until the thing I love only becomes another thing I write papers for?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Hey, Marcus, what's going on? Oh, okay. I'll be down there in a few minutes. All right. Hey, I gotta go. Something's going on, but keep working on your lesson. We'll pick back up on Friday. See how it goes.
Okay.
All right?
Hey, Jess. Are you doing okay?
I'm just pitchy. Why? Why did you let this happen to him?
Just, you know that we didn't. This happened after weeks of planning and prayer and tears. We're not the bad guy here. I know you don't want to hear this right now, but God has a plan, and this is part of it, even though it sucks right now.
If this is his plan, I don't know if I want to be a part of it. You know, like, we looked up to him, we were counting on him. What are we all going to do, all the students? And then once May rolls around, the seniors will have no idea what to do.
I know,
Oh,
but
no, you don't. I don't think you do. But the man that we were all counting on, he just walked out of our life.
Jess, it's.
No, just leave me alone.
Hey kiddo, how you doing?
Well, let's see. I start my senior year in 4 weeks. I haven't touched my AP work in 2 weeks. And no one at school, none of my friends, don't even seem to think that this incident is a big deal. And, oh yeah, John's gone.
I hate seeing you lose someone that you love so much, and the whole situation could have happened better, but you can't just avoid them forever.
Bet.
Fine, but I hope you realize you're still going to the retreat next weekend.
That's still happening with everything going on. Half of the youth group is gone. None of the adult leaders know what to do. And honestly, none of us think it's worth it anymore.
Listen, you're going.
So you still haven't talked to anybody yet?
No, why would I?
I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea to cut out all the people in your life just because one person made the decision to leave. Hey, it'll be okay.
No, it won't be. And I wish everybody would stop telling me that.
Okay. First of all, he wasn't your only support system. And secondly, it's not like he's completely gone out of your life. I mean, you're still going to see him. I mean, sure, it's going to be less frequent and probably not as long, but he's not completely out of your life. If you ever need to talk or if you ever have a question, give him a call.
Maybe, but it's not the same. Do you know how many days last year after school I would just walk into his office and do homework or to talk?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not ideal, but it's really the only option you have. At this point, you're just going to have to take what you can get.
Maybe, but why would someone that meant so much to me, and not only me, to the church and to the community in general, just walk out of my life without so much as a goodbye?
I mean, I don't know, Jess. Everything has its time. But maybe this is just God calling you to something bigger.
Hey. Hey, Jess. Ready to go?
Guess I don't have much of a choice at this point. Where can I put my stuff?
Yeah, there's some room in that car over there. We're just waiting on a couple more people, then we can head out.
Okay.
Is she really still that upset?
Yeah, I guess I tried to talk to her, but it doesn't really seem like her mind is changing much.
Yeah. I guess at this point, all we can do is pray and just wait for the storm to blow over.
So, are you picking me up Sunday night?
Yeah, either your dad or I will be here to pick you up.
Okay, yeah. Guess I'll see you Sunday night then. If I'm going to be forced to put on a fake Christian facade of happiness for 2 days in public, then everyone in small groups is going to see how much I don't want to be here. How can they act like nothing has happened? How can they pretend we're perfect Christians without problems or heartache? Everyone is going to be talking to each other about how great it is to be here and that Jesus is moving and they feel so refreshed. But is anyone going to talk about the fact that maybe it's not refreshing to get away from a situation where everyone still refuses to talk about what happened? At least here I don't have to drive by the building where we sat and had so many talks about Jesus and life choices, made so many memories with the rest of the youth group, laughed and cried together.
Hey. You alright?
No, but you already knew that, didn't you? I'm so tired of everyone talking about how eventually it'll be okay. I don't care if it'll be okay. I just want some sense of normal now. And there's no one here to make me feel like that.
Hey. Listen, it's hurting everyone. And I know it's affecting you a lot more because of how close you guys were, but we're all affected by it. And most of us are just trying to cope by moving on best we can. Have you talked to him since it happened?
He just said sorry and how he was sorry for how everything ended. I wanted to talk to him, but to be honest, I don't know how anymore. And to be honest, I don't want to, because every time I think about it, I just get angry and then I just start to cry again. It sounds real mature, I know.
You sound like you're human. And everyone has their own way of grieving. Whether or not it's healthy is another matter. But I know you're sick of hearing this. Everything happens for a reason. And everything has its time, even if it sucks in that moment.
You're right. I am sick of hearing that.
God, I don't know what I'm going to do with that girl. Can you show her this weekend that her holding on to all that anger isn't going to help anything? And that even though it sucks right now, life will and can get better.
I'm so glad to see so many faces this weekend. I'm sure it's going to be a great time for everyone.
Sure will. What with all the repression of true feelings and ignorance of internal struggles and all, great weekend.
There is a time for everything and a season for everything that's been created under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. a time to scatter stones and then again to gather them, and a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8.
Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding? I can't even escape from the stupid phrase when I leave town to this supposedly refreshing retreat. This is bullcrap.
And it's okay if you're in your time of weeping. It's okay for you to be in your time of giving up. And it's okay for you to be in a time of hate. But you know what you can't do? You can't stay in that time forever. When Solomon wrote those verses, he knew that there was a proper time for everything, and even these negative emotions that we have. However, there has to be a point to them. There has to be a point in our anger and our hurting and our suffering. What good is it to hate someone forever? That's so much wasted time and energy that could have been spent on healing the thing that caused that struggle in the first place. These negative emotions bring out our deepest need for God. We cry out to God, and He gives us those emotions to communicate that to Him. And during those times, we cannot forget to call out during the times of laughter and dancing and embracing as well. All too often, we find ourselves calling out to God when we're at our absolute worst and that we can't do it anymore on our own. That's not how it was intended to be, though. Cry out to God and give everything over to Him. Cry out with your pain and confess with your hate and praise Him for the laughter and the delight and the times of silence with Him. Remember that story of Job? The guy who lost everything, including his children and his wife and his land and everything that he owned. And he cried out to God in his suffering. And Job had his time of weeping and his time to question what was going on. And why? But all the while, he had never lost faith. He always trusted that God had a bigger plan for him. And even though he didn't understand what good could have possibly come out of his suffering, Job never lost faith. He cried out to God, he questioned Him, yet he never cursed Him. Job's example of faithfulness and patience in his obedience through his trials is one that we could all learn from. Because even in the midst of what was probably the greatest physical and emotionally and spiritually taxing pain of his life, he still trusted God and had a greater plan for him. He eventually got on to the dancing and onto the laughter and the better things in Job's life, but he wouldn't have gotten to that point if he didn't go through that suffering, go through those trials, making him appreciate and value what God had given him.
Hey, John. Can we talk?